All right, YouTube. It is, well, I was going to say what day it is as far as like day of the week, but no one really cares. You guys just want to know what muscle group it is. In which case, I will tell you it is shoulder day. Boulder shoulders. I'm going to turn the air up a little bit because I'm going to the gym at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon here in Florida, and that is one of the hotter times out of the day. But today's pre-workout conversation is injury prevention. So, let's discuss it. What causes injury in the gym? Well, there's really two types of injuries. There's pre-tear. There's actually three types of injuries. There's pre-tear, there's partial tear, and then there's total tear. Now, total tear is obviously the worst. Partial tear, not ideal. And then kind of pre-tearing, not really that big of a deal. So, pre-tearing is when you're working out and you all of a sudden feel a bit of a twinge in your muscle that you're moving. That's fine, provided you stop that movement altogether and lower your weight. If you proceed to attempt to push through that twinge, then you're going to more than likely end up with a partial tear. Now, what is a twinge? A twinge is more than likely a partial tear, where that muscle is not tolerating the stress that you're putting it under. And so what ends up happening is a portion of that muscle gives out under the tension and you get that twinge. Again, a partial. Recovery time for this is usually less than a month, provided you rest the muscle, continue to stretch it, continue to use insanely light weight with that range of motion. Meaning if you twinge your pec on bench press, you do like the bar for a month. You would never want to stop working out anything other than a total tear when it comes to injury, because you still want blood flow to be prioritized to that area so that it can heal quicker. Rather than not work it out at all, allow it to get just the normal amount of blood flow and then have it atrophy so that when you are able to work it out again, it's much weaker, much more difficult to get back to your baseline level of strength, which you're going to want to try and do forcefully, which will predispose you to more injury. Now, a true partial tear is when a larger portion of the muscle decides to tear, but that muscle doesn't tear off the bone entirely. Now, your partial tears, you're going to be looking at probably anywhere from 6 months to a year recovery time before you really should start reintroducing serious weight, serious load to that muscle. Now, a partial tear tears the same way that a twinge or a partial tear breaks, and that's again too much tension under what the muscle is able to tolerate at that time, and then pushing through it. If you do get a partial tear and you decide to ignore it, which most people can't because of how bad the pain is, you will more than likely end up with a total tear. The total tear is when the muscle tears off the bone entirely, becomes detached from the bone or the ligament or the tendon, you name it. Again, from too much tension being put on that part of the body, that muscle, and then it snaps entirely. All three of these different types of injuries can happen in a millisecond, in the blink of an eye. But the warning signs are a little bit more gradual. So when you're working out, if you're moving a weight and you get stuck at a certain range of motion on your heavy weight, on your heavy sets, just stop. If you're benching and then all of a sudden the bar just stops about halfway up, do not continue to attempt to push it up unless it's gradually rising up on its own. If it's not moving at all, understand that you got some work to do and have your spotter re-rack it. Trust me, otherwise you're going to get a pectoral tear closer to your armpit. I know a lot of people, they get these weird pectoral tears and their pec detaches from their sternum entirely. I don't know how, but majority of bench press tears come from flat bench press, and they happen right here in the corner. Now, what predisposes someone to developing or getting injured, developing an injury or getting injured? Well, the main three factors, or really the only factors, you may not be surprised to hear, are a lack of sleep, a lack of hydration, and a lack of nutrition. Now, let's talk about lack of sleep. When your muscles are fatigued and they're exhausted and they haven't been able to rest adequately, they're not going to respond as efficiently and as quickly from a nervous system standpoint as they would if you're consistently getting 6+, 8+ hours of sleep every night. Now, if you one night only get, 5 hours of sleep, does that mean you're going to get an injury the next day in the gym? No, not necessarily. It just means that maybe you should take it a little bit easier that day, just a little bit, or be more mindful of how your muscles feel as you're working out so that, you don't get injured. Another way is due to lack of hydration. Think of your muscles as kind of like an elastic sponge that squeezes and contracts and stretches as needed based off of, the range of motion and load. If that sponge is bone dry, it's going to tear apart. It's going to crack apart much easier. Your muscles are pretty much the same way. If you're not hydrated, your muscles are going to be a little bit more dry, and then that tissue is going to be a little bit more fragile, a little bit more prone to tearing. And really, just because you decided to not drink enough water, you now have an injury. Easily remedied by drinking water, preferably water with electrolytes. Creatine can help prevent that from happening, as well as BCAAs a little bit. And then lastly, nutrition. Now, if you don't have enough carbohydrates in your bloodstream, your muscles aren't going to be able to hydrate adequately enough because, despite how much water you're drinking, because carbohydrates help with water transfer between cells of the muscle versus the body versus the vasculature. That's why they're called carbohydrates. If you're not getting enough protein in, your body's not going to be able to repair the muscle quick enough in time from the last time you worked it, so it's already going to be pre-injured / pre-exhausted from the previous workout. And if you go to work it out hard and aggressive next, it could hurt it, could injure it. I know I'm not using some of the fancier words that other influencers like to use, or the scientific terms, but to be fair, you really don't need to when it comes to this kind of stuff. Now, let's talk about what it feels like right before your muscle is about to tear. Think of I'm trying to think of the two common injuries that I can think of are like bicep tearing and then pec tearing. I'll go over both. More than likely, your bicep's going to tear closer to your, elbow, towards the antecubital aspect of your forearm. What that's going to feel like is it's going to feel kind of like an itchiness of the muscle, not of the skin, but of the muscle, and it's going to kind of feel like your bicep on the tip right here is starting to cramp as you're doing the movement. Not during the squeeze, but as you're bringing it up in the range of motion. If you feel that, stop and lower your weight. If you're bench pressing, flat bench pressing, when you bring the weight down and then you bring it up, there's two areas where muscles like to tear during bench press. When you have the weight all the way back, this will begin to feel really bad, and it'll feel like someone's digging their finger into that side of your muscle. And then if you push it up and it gets stuck here and it's not moving at all, and you don't follow my advice and just rack it, you try and like push through it, but it's not moving, it's also going to feel a little bit itchy. It's going to feel like someone's poking their finger into that muscle deeply, and you're going to feel kind of like a little bit of a cramping. Now, when the muscle finally does partially or fully tear, it's going to be a pop, and the way that it feels, if you take a hot dog and you grip each end of the hot dog with your hands, and then you pull the hot dog apart, you don't tear it in half, but you pull it apart, that pop when the hot dog separates, that's what it feels like when you get a muscle injury. So as long as you're being mindful as to how much weight you're moving, which I'm all about, moving heavy weight, high intensity training, sprinkling a little bit of ego lifting, but as long as you're being smart and not pushing yourself too much, getting enough nutrition in, getting enough rest in, and getting enough hydration in, you should be fine. If you do get injured, don't stop working out the area altogether unless it's a total tear. Instead, just do the range of motion with starting weight. Do one plate on the Pin Select machine for your triceps if your triceps tore. If your biceps, if you have an injury with your bicep, just use 10 pounders. If you have a chest tear, just use the barbell. Get that muscle's range of motion going, get some blood flow prioritized to it. Don't stop working it all together, because you're going to end up disproportionate and you're going to end up atrophied, and then the rehab is going to take a lot longer than what it needed to. But I've rambled on enough. Those are my little golden nuggets of information for you guys. If you like the video, like the video. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe. We're going to be having these kind of chats more often. If you have any other questions, comment down below. I answer every comment. See you guys in the gym.
How can he possibly be so calm? At the 11th hour, he still speaks of survival as though it's a given. Why does his voice resonate so strongly within me? The sound of this man's voice is so reassuring to me. Now I must be led by the Black Swordsman, a man who stands alone in the darkness.
Can't get away. That final terror and hatred is burned into my right eye. I'll never be able to atone for it. This pitch black flame burning in my soul. If I can't atone and I can't run from it, I must let it burn me.
Biggest fight on the hill in the early days. Constant chill deep inside. Shouting gun on they run through the endless parade. On they fight for the right, yet refuse to stay. For a hill men would kill, why they do not know. Skipping forward's just a prize. Men of five still alive through the raging mold. Gone insane from pain, and they surely know. For whom the bell tolls. Time marches on. For whom the bell tolls.
All right. Well, that was, I will say, a pretty good shoulder day. I won't say it was an amazing shoulder day or a phenomenal shoulder day, but it was definitely a good and definitely a productive shoulder day. Here's, well, I'll give you the bad first, and then I'll heal you with the good. I am having this issue with my ulnar. I don't know if you guys ever know that pain that you get when you straight bar curl. You get that, bottom forearm pain, that ulnar forearm pain. I'm getting that whenever I'm lifting heavy on shoulder press. And I think it's because of my stabilization muscles to keep the dumbbell stabilized when I'm heavy pressing, which heavy pressing for me is 100-pound dumbbells. And it's really wrecking my shit. Because I can do my first set of 6 relatively easily, but as a result of having to stabilize, I can't even see this goddamn light. It's so, the sun's literally like, you ever have the sun be like right behind the traffic light and so you don't know what color the light is? Ugh. Anyways, getting back on topic. My forearms were absolutely fried after the first heavy set. So much so that despite my best efforts, I could not complete my second heavy set. And it's pretty frustrating. And I'm gradually kind of wanting to go back to barbell Smith machine shoulder press, because I really can't have something like that hinder not only one of my movements, not only one of my sets, but the remainder of my shoulder workout. I mean, I do my first heavy set and it's successful. Probably could have done more than 6. I probably need to start going up in weight, but I can't because of this forearm issue. So I can't do my second set of 100. I go to just do 30 pounds. And it's like this is all bruised. It's obviously not bruised, but it's just an incredible soreness. And so dumbbell shoulder press got skewed a little bit is what I'm getting at. So the remainder of the workout was good. I actually had a really good workout of seated shoulder flies or seated lateral raises. I did the stack for 2 solid reps or 2 solid sets of 6, which I've stacked out that machine before. I've been stacking out the machine, but that is, I'm pretty sure that's by far as most controlled as what I've had that machine ever. So that's good. We shoulder flies, again, because it involved gripping, was kind of skewed. Usually able to do 50s a little bit better than what I was able to do them today. So that's annoying. And rear delts sitting, in reverse on the pec fly machine to hit rear delts. Still pretty strong, but I'm pretty sure I've stacked out that machine before, and I did not stack it out today. Stacking it out's like 240 pounds. I only did 200 for a set of 6. So, I mean, as annoying as it is to say, I don't think that I can keep doing dumbbell shoulder press on a regular basis if I'm going to keep having this issue. And I really don't think it's a hydration issue. I don't think it's a nutrition issue. I don't think it's a rest issue. I think it's almost an anatomical issue. I mean, my forearms, I don't know if working my forearms in advance or working forearms more regularly, I'm not sure. I will tell you that I do get this pain when I'm doing straight bar curls. And obviously straight bar curls have been pretty heavy for me lately because I've been doing 135 pounds. Maybe we set a standard to where we don't hit shoulders directly after hitting arms, and we allow for a 1 to 2 day rest in between. That might be what we have to do. Or we just go back to Smith machine shoulder press. I got to tell you though, being able to dumbbell press 100-pound dumbbells for a set of 6, it feels pretty damn good to be able to say and to be able to do. And this is kind of my ego talking a little bit, but people turn their heads in the gym when they see someone shoulder pressing 100-pound dumbbells. But that ego boost or that impressiveness kind of goes away when they see that you can't get a second set. So I don't know. We'll have to see what's going on. I mean, the equivalent, in my opinion, the equivalent to shoulder pressing 200-pound dumbbells on Smith machine would have to be 3 plates on each side. I know it's definitely not the same weight, but in terms of impressiveness, 225 or 245-pound plates on each side, I mean, it's kind of impressive on shoulder press, but it's really not. It's not the same as dumbbell pressing 100-pound dumbbells. But maybe I just got to let my ego go for a little bit. We will see. So now, gonna go home. Gonna smash a 100-gram protein shake. Drink some water. Do everything that I can to try and get these forearms inherently stronger, inherently more conditioned, because they get worked whether you like it or not. Like, your grip, anything that involves gripping, you're working your forearms. And so, anything that you squeeze, curls, tricep extension, literally every movement that involves grip to some degree, you're working your forearms. So in my opinion, you don't necessarily need to hit them directly. They kind of indirectly get hit. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah. And then I'm gonna get a good night's sleep tonight because I worked out a little bit later in the day. Hopefully my pre-workout has worn off by now. Doesn't keep me up all night. That's happened before. It is not fun, but I usually work out hard enough to where my pre-workout wears off entirely. So hopefully tonight's one of those nights. I'm not going to have my steak for dinner because the time that I plan on going to bed tonight, I don't think I'm going to be able to effectively eat steak in addition to my protein shake and then digest it in time before I lay down. Which is going to translate to insufficient quality of sleep. And and then being not as well rested tomorrow. So can't have that. Other than that, just going to chill the rest of the day, watch some TV. I don't have any errands to do. I don't have any tasks to run. It'll be a good, nice, easy, lazy afternoon. So hope you guys are doing good in your progress in the gym. Hope you're getting stronger. Hope you're getting bigger. Unless, of course, you're trying to lose weight, in which I hope you guys are getting lighter. Hope you're getting skinnier. Hope you're getting leaner. And I hope that you're not losing too much strength in the process. So with that being said, I'll cut the conversation here. You guys remember to stay safe, stay big, stay strong.